Good evening. You're watching the news at 6 with me, Sean Russell, and these are the headlines we're tracking right now. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley appeals to all parties to back the GST amendment bill after the Speaker rejects the opposition's demand to refer it to a parliamentary standing committee. The Real Estate Regulation and Development Bill has been deferred once again in the Rajya Sabha after opposition insists on sending it to a select panel. Cabinet approves the land boundary agreement between India and Bangladesh. Once ratified by Parliament, the law will enable exchange of enclaves and territories between the two countries. Prime Minister Modi will begin his three-nation tour to China, Mongolia and South Korea next week, announces his trip on China's version of Twitter, Sina Weibo. And a uproar over Moga molestation case stalls proceedings in both houses of Parliament. Opposition steps up the pressure on the Akali BJP government in Punjab. Our top story this evening, the 122nd Constitutional Amendment Bill on GST was taken up by Lok Sabha today. The Speaker rejected the opposition's demands to refer the bill to a parliamentary standing committee. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley appealed to all parties to back the bill. He suggested that it should not be sent to a parliamentary committee for review anymore. He said that the government's aim is to roll out the new tax regime from April next year, and that will fail if the bill was delayed. The opposition parties slammed the government, accusing it of bypassing parliamentary standing committees on several bills. The bill requires two-thirds majority in both houses.
My respectful submission is this argument is no longer valid. That it has not gone to a standing committee. It has spent 2.5 years before the standing committee. Thereafter, it has spent dozens and dozens of meetings of empowered committee of finance ministers under 3 different finance ministers and 4 different chairpersons. It is only then that a consensus between the centre and the states, almost a near unanimity, has been achieved at. After that, if we want to delay it, I would suggest no purpose would be served, and therefore the government is extremely keen, and I would literally request you, beseech you, that after all there are some issues in the life of a nation, we have to rise above partisan considerations. I stand here to support GST. Ultimately, after my argument or the argument of the many other speakers, the Honourable Speaker or yourself or the Honourable Finance Minister may agree to refer it to the Standing Committee. I am just presenting my views why this has to be referred to the Standing Committee. I think let us keep the mind open.
Sir, in GST issue, we sincerely hope that the present government should withdraw this piece of legislation in the present form by referring it to the Standing Committee, sir, to reach a broad consensus on all critical issues which create a win-win situation for all, and then bring the legislation for passing in this August House, sir.
We'll request that if these suggestions are taken care by the Honourable Finance Minister, we are broadly, at the very threshold I said that we are supporting, and also we are waiting. Since we are very happy to see your smiling face, we will also smile when we will get our dues amount.
Let's go across to our correspondent Sham Sundar, who's been tracking all these developments happening in the Lok Sabha. Sham, as far as the GST is concerned, a broad political consensus is there, but the standing committee demand is a little bit of an irritant in the smooth process of this bill.
Well, Ishan, you are right. As far as GST is concerned, in principle, every party is in agreement. In fact, this bill was designed by UPA only, and most of the state all of the state finance ministers are a member of the empowered committee, which is discussing this bill for last almost 10 years now. And this bill was also discussed in the standing committees. But now, argument of the opposition is that there are few new amendments in this bill. Congress leader Mr. Veerappa Moily said that there are almost 10 new clauses added in this bill. So this bill should be sent to the standing committee, though Finance Minister Arun Jaitley strongly said that this bill is discussed in standing committees and not only in standing committees with the state governments also. So there is no need to send this bill to standing committee again, and he all opposition parties to pass this bill, and he said that if this bill is not passed in this session, then 2016 April deadline will not be met by the government, and then it will be a loss for the state governments and for the nation. So though Speaker ruled that this bill will not be sent to standing committee, but when the speakers from different parties participating in the debate, they again insisted that this bill should go to standing committee.
All right, Shyam, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much. Shyam, of course, we'll keep a track of all those developments happening in the Lok Sabha for us. Well, let's move on. Opposition forced deferment of the Real Estate Regulation and Development Bill in the Rajya Sabha today, insisting on referring it to a select committee of Parliament. The government said it is consulting all parties on the bill and would consider a demand by some Rajya Sabha members to send it to a select committee. Earlier, Samajwadi Party MP Naresh Agarwal questioned why the bill was listed even as it was deferred last week. Clarifying the issue, Parliamentary Affairs Minister M. Venkaiah Naidu said the bill was listed as it was pending from the previous day's business, but due to a 4-day break, the government could not hold consultations with all stakeholders.
तो मैं आपका संरक्षण चाहता हूं कि क्या इस हाउस में एश्योरेंस देने के बाद सरकार जबरदस्ती लिस्ट ऑफ बिजनेस में उन चीजों को भी लिस्टेड कर सकती है जो चीजें सदन के सामने थी और जिस पे अभी तक निर्णय नहीं हुआ.
As a matter of abundant caution, the bill has been carried forward for today's business. The consultation process is on. I'll be able to complete in a day or two, and then I'll come to the House and I'll keep the sentiments of the House in mind of a maximum number of readers who are suggesting that should be referred to select committee. I have that in my mind. I will act accordingly, sir. Once I complete the consultation process, then I'll come back to the House.
Well, let's go across to our correspondent Vishal Daya, who's been tracking all the developments happening in Rajya Sabha. Vishal, this the real estate bill was something that Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi had surprisingly taken up in a major way last week, and that was also reflected in the united opposition as far as this bill is concerned, and insistence on referring it to a select committee. We'll try to establish that connection with Vishal once again. We'll just reiterate what has happened, that the opposition forced the deferment of the Real Estate Regulation and Development Bill in Rajya Sabha today, insisting on referring it to a select committee of Parliament. The government said it is consulting all parties on the bill and would consider a demand by some Rajya Sabha members to send it to a select committee. In fact, we have joined by Vishal Daya now, who's been tracking all the
I can't hear the anchor. Hello.
Hi Vishal, can you hear me now? All right, we'll try to re-establish that connection with Vishal again. Meanwhile, moving on, the Union Cabinet today approved the legislation to operationalize the Land Boundary Agreement, or LBA, between India and Bangladesh. Once approved by Parliament, the law will enable exchange of territories between the two countries. The decision was taken at a meeting of the Cabinet chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi this morning. It's likely to come up in Rajya Sabha within the week as well. Now, the India-Bangladesh agreement has to be ratified by Parliament through a constitutional amendment bill. Once approved by Parliament, the law will enable exchange of territories between India and Bangladesh. The Constitution 119th Amendment Bill 2013 amends the first schedule of the Constitution to give effect to an agreement between India and Bangladesh on the acquiring and transfer of territories between the two countries on the 16th of May 1974. An additional protocol was signed in 2011. Under the pact, India and Bangladesh will exchange several enclaves which are under each other's adverse possession. The new bill includes territories in Assam along with those in West Bengal, Tripura and Meghalaya. Now, the Moga molestation case echoed in both houses of Parliament today. Both houses saw adjournments as opposition protested over law and order situation in the state, blaming the Akali BJP government in the state. Opposition's demands for a discussion on the issue were turned down, leading to protests.
Both houses of parliament were adjourned repeatedly on Tuesday as opposition demanded for a discussion on the death of a teenager in Punjab who was allegedly molested on a bus last week. In Lok Sabha, Speaker Sumitra Mahajan rejected an adjournment motion moved by the Congress seeking suspension of question hour to discuss the matter. The government objected to the issue being raised again in Parliament. The Moga murder was first brought up in Parliament last week by Congress and Aam Aadmi Party lawmakers.
Your economy is in shambles, your law and order is in shambles, everything in Punjab is down at absolutely ground level.
In the upper house, Congress leader Ambika Soni said that the case reflects complete decadence and anarchy under the current sad BJP regime. She also demanded centre's intervention. Backing Congress's claim for President's rule in Punjab, BSP chief Mayawati said the government has failed to protect the women.
Please give notice. Please give notice.
Total breakdown of law and order situation.
Please give notice.
पंजाब के अंदर जो हमारी महिलाएं हैं, हमारी खास तौर से बहन बेटियां हैं, उनके जान माल वहाँ पे सुरक्षित नहीं है, इसलिए वहाँ पर ऐसी स्थिति में जब सरकार उनको अभी न्याय नहीं दे पा रही है, वहाँ चाहिए.
The chair urged the opposition members to give proper notice for discussion. However, MOS for Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi said it was improper to discuss the working of state governments in the House.
कार्रवाई भी की और राज्य सरकार ने जो लोग भी दोषी हैं उनके खिलाफ भी कार्रवाई की. उसके बाद अगर इस तरह का मुद्दा यहाँ पर उठेगा, राज्य सरकारें क्या कर रही है, राज्यों में क्या घटना हो रही है, उन घटनाओं को लेकर के अगर यहाँ पर हर दिन चर्चा करने की बात आएगी तो मुझे लगता है ये उचित नहीं है.
When the House resumed after a 10-minute adjournment, Leader of Opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad raised the issue again and demanded that FIR be lodged against the owners of the bus. CPIM MP Sitaram Yechuri also condemned the state government for inaction.
लेकिन ये मोगा का जो इशू है ये बहुत बड़ा सीरियस इशू है. इसमें जो लोग सरकार चला रहे हैं वही इस कंपनी के मालिक हैं.
A minister, a standing minister has said that this is the act of God. There is no crime in it. I think such a minister should not remain in office.
Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu urged the opposition to tender notice for discussion. However, his requests went unheeded as the Congress members barged into the aisles, forcing another adjournment till noon. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit China between the 14th and 16th of this month, part of a three-nation tour where he will also go to Mongolia and South Korea. The official announcement of dates for the China visit came on Modi's page on Chinese social media site Sina Weibo. The Prime Minister posted, and I quote, "Looking forward to visiting China from 14th to 16th May to strengthen friendship between our two ancient civilizations and the two largest developing countries." The trip follows a visit by Chinese President Xi Jinping to India in September, where the leaders emphasized cooperation in business deals such as funding for railways. That, alongside strategic issues, are likely to be the key focus of talks between Modi and the Chinese leadership. Here's the itinerary of the Prime Minister's three-nation tour. He arrives in China on the 14th of May. During a three-day visit, Modi will visit Xi'an, Beijing and Shanghai. He will also hold bilateral meetings with the Chinese leadership and will participate in cultural and business events. Modi will also attend an event organized by the Indian community in China. His engagement in Mongolia on the 17th of May marks the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to the country. He will then visit South Korea during 18th to 19th May to hold bilateral discussions with President of South Korea, Park Geun-hye, and meet important business leaders in Seoul. On to news from Nepal, where rescue teams have reached among the worst affected areas hit by a series of avalanches in the aftermath of the earthquake. Now, the overall official death toll has crossed 7,500, with thousands still unaccounted for. A day after it asked foreign rescue teams to leave, the nation still struggles to get on its feet. Here's a report.
100 dead bodies pulled out of the rubble in just a few hours. Thousands still believed trapped within. This is Langtang, 130 kilometers north of Kathmandu, once one of Nepal's finest trekking destinations. Landslides after the April 25th earthquake wiped out entire villages in this belt. Work is on to pull out more bodies. No survivors expected. 10 days after the earthquake, clean-up operations have begun in some areas, though there's no sight of normalcy just yet. For the survivors, life is just about prayers and hoping.
It will take, I think, 10 years, not less than 10, because the government of Nepal is not taking too much interest.
At relief camps in and around Kathmandu, people look to move out whenever possible, try to pick up the pieces. Most here have lost their homes. International aid agencies are pitching in a big way here. There's some focus on help for children to overcome the trauma. UNICEF had put the number of children who lost homes, family members and healthcare at some 1.7 million.
The child-friendly space. We've started this for the children who's been displaced because of the earthquake last week, and we have started many of these child-friendly spaces in different places in the valley, and we plan to move to the districts also.
UNICEF is also spearheading vaccination drives for the children as disease emerges as a major challenge across Nepal.
We've vaccinated children in tent settlements like this throughout Kathmandu Valley, but also in districts beyond. We are targeting 500,000 children under the age of 5 to be vaccinated against measles.
Then there's repair of the heritage monuments at the center of Nepal's tourism industry, which in turn is central to Nepal's economy. Experts put the bill for this at $2 billion. A lot will depend on international aid.
I can see you 90% heritage are damaged. Some are partly cracked, some are total demolished, some are we want to demolish. I promise you 5 to 7 years. It takes time. We can rebuild again.
So many pieces to pick up. 10 days is hardly even a start. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
That's all from us. Goodbye.